We are now just 1 hour until polls close. In this Texas primary, here's a live look at one voting location for you. All are scheduled to call it a day at 7 tonight.
We saw a handful of locations with long lines today. Remember, if you are in line to vote before 7, you'll still be able to vote. Early votes are among the first results to come in, and when that happens, our team will bring you up-to-the-minute information. We have reporters spread out all across Texas.
In Houston, we have Janelle Baluta, Matt Doherty, and Jason Miles. They are all monitoring polling locations. It is election night, and Texas is the first primary in the nation. Good evening to you. I'm Mia Gradney.
And I'm Len Cannon. Nearly every elected position in the state is on the ballot. There is a lot to get to and a few hiccups along the way, starting with the new voting law changes. That's what led to thousands of mail-in ballots being rejected, mostly due to voters failing to include information like their social security numbers or driver's license numbers. Adam Bennett looking into some of the pitfalls that's caused this election to be a bit bumpy. Adam?
Well, Lynn, county election officials tell me that their tech support teams have fixed most of the issues that we saw earlier with machines and with websites being down, but they blame the staffing shortages and disagreements on the political parties who run things on election day for the primary. But either way, it's the everyday voters that are being caught in the middle of all of this. A few of the issues we saw today, let's start with Southeast Houston. This was the Palm Center earlier. They had a problem with a couple of the voting machines. Those have since been fixed. There was also a more than hour-long wait for the GOP line at the First Congressional Church of Houston in Hunters Creek Village. A polling judge told us that a bad cord took down one of their 8 voting machines there. And then finally, there's the Gregory Lincoln Education Center near downtown. A clerk told us they've had to turn away Democrat primary voters throughout the day because the machines weren't connecting to the system.
It seems odd that the Democratic one's busted and the Republicans are still working. That's all. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. I've never been where they didn't work at all. And their answer is go to another place. I've walked here.
And this is all on top of a record high level of mail ballot rejections. It was a rate of 30% at last check. And the county told me almost all of these cases are due to the state's new ID requirements for voting by mail. Now, people have until 7 tonight to drop off their own mail ballots at the county's downtown office on Preston Street. And if you want to vote in person, you still have time. And it's worth repeating that as long as you are in line by 7, you will still be able to vote no matter how long it takes. Len and Mia.
We'll pick it up from here. Adam Bennett at Election Central. Thank you. The race for governor is the top billed item on the ballot. Because this election is a party primary, incumbent Greg Abbott and his biggest challenger, former Congressman Beto O'Rourke, must take on members of their own party first.
And based on poll numbers, it looks like the two will likely face off come November. Our Xavier Walton is at the O'Rourke Campaign Watch Party that's up in Fort Worth. Melissa Correa in Corpus Christi with Governor Abbott. First to Xavier. And Beto was in El Paso voting this morning, I'm told. Xavier?
Len, he certainly was, and later tonight he will be here in Tarrant County for his election night rally. So nonetheless, a long, busy day for Beto. But let's get to some video from earlier. Here he is in El Paso, the Democrat running for the governor of Texas, voting. You know, he was met by a large group of supporters there in El Paso, even stopped to talk to the crowd about the importance of voting on a day like today. Meantime, I spoke to his campaign. He is now on his way here. He's on his way to Fort Worth. He'll arrive about 7:30 to take the stage, address the crowd here, then talk to us. Here's what Beto had to say in El Paso.
But we'd love to see a really big turnout today. We know that it's been a little bit lower, and we know why it's been a little bit lower in terms of these new election laws. And so we need to do our best to rally the people of Texas to overcome that. And Amy and I...
The campaign is expecting hundreds of people here. The live music is already getting underway, as you can hear. There's also going to be a DJ. The venue here, though, closes right around 11 o'clock tonight, so a long day. But from Fort Worth, Xavier Walton, KHOU 11 News.
On top of it there, Xavier, thank you. And from Fort Worth, we head south with Melissa Correa.
Melissa, Governor Abbott on top in those polls that we saw from the University of Texas. He's in Corpus Christi tonight. What's it like there?
Hey, Mia, you can tell that he's topping the polls based on the party setup here along the Texas Gulf Coast. Governor Greg Abbott is set to address his supporters around 7:30 tonight. And boy, has he chosen a background of confidence and strength. Take a look at this Texas flag, a giant flag positioned in front of the USS Lexington here in Corpus Christi. The World War II naval aircraft carrier is a landmark and a must visit in Texas. While Abbott, the incumbent, is polling with a comfortable lead, he is facing 7 other Republican challengers. His opponents are critical of Abbott's handling of the pandemic and last year's deadly freeze in February. But the governor has support of law enforcement, including federal Border Patrol agents who are welcoming his effort to get more boots along the border. You may remember he dispatched the National Guard and state troopers along the Texas-Mexico border last year. Listen, Corpus Christi is an interesting choice for Governor Greg Abbott's March primary election night party. In his most recent directive, he is calling for some parents of trans children to be investigated for child abuse. It is a decision that the district attorney here in Wessex County is not supporting. And yet here we are in Corpus Christi. We're live. Mia, we'll send it back to you.
We'll pick it up from here. Thank you, Mel. And our coverage continues when we start getting results. Until then, we are still watching how long it takes for voters to cast their ballot.